The Great Emu War, Australia's strangest battle. In the sweltering heat of the Australian outback, where golden fields stretched under a merciless sun, an unexpected war erupted in late 1932. It was a battle unlike any other, a clash between man and beast that would go down in history as the Great Emu War. The enemy? A vast army of 20,000 battle-hardened emus, relentless, swift, and seemingly impervious to bullets. The battlefield? The wheat fields of Western Australia, where farmers fought not only economic ruin but an invasion of nature itself. ### the seeds of war. Following the devastation of World War I, the Australian government sought to reward its soldiers by granting them farmlands in the remote regions of Western Australia. But the promise of prosperity turned bitter with the onset of the Great Depression. Wheat prices plummeted, government subsidies failed to arrive, and the land, already unforgiving, became a battleground of survival. Just as the farmers braced themselves against financial collapse, a new menace arose from the wilderness. ***the emus****. After their breeding season, these towering flightless birds undertook their annual migration from the arid interior toward the coast. But what they found along their path was too tempting to ignore: vast fields of ripe wheat, an oasis of food amidst the desolation. What began as a few curious foragers soon turned into a full-scale invasion. The emus descended upon the farmlands in an unstoppable wave, tearing through crops with relentless hunger, toppling fences, and leaving destruction in their wake. As the wheat fields were ravaged, another enemy crept in: the rabbits, exploiting the gaps in the farmers' defenses to wreak further havoc. Desperate and outmatched, the farmers turned to the only force they believed could stand against the onslaught: the Australian military. ###war declared. A delegation of ex-soldiers, men who had faced the horrors of war in Europe, now found themselves pleading for arms against a foe they never expected to battle. They approached the Minister of Defence, Sir George Pearce, with a bold request: deploy machine guns against the emu horde. To their relief, Pearce agreed, on 3 conditions. The guns would only be operated by military personnel, the Western Australian government would cover transportation costs, and the farmers would provide food, lodging, and pay for the ammunition. With the government's approval, war was officially declared. The operation would not only protect the farmers but, as Pearce saw it, serve as excellent target practice for the troops. To ensure the battle's significance was recorded, a cinematographer from Fox Movietone was enlisted to document what would become one of the most bizarre military engagements in history. Armed with Lewis guns, the soldiers set out into the fields, ready to eliminate their feathery foes. The war had begun. ###the Battle of the Wheat Fields. What followed was a series of engagements that defied all expectations. The first confrontation took place in early November, as soldiers took their positions and waited for a large flock of emus to enter their sights. The order was given, and the guns roared to life. But the emus, far from being easy targets, scattered in all directions. Bullets whizzed through the air, but the birds moved with astonishing speed, their long legs carrying them beyond the soldiers' reach. As the machine gunners tried to adjust their aim, the emus outmaneuvered them, dodging gunfire with an almost supernatural agility. Realizing their mistake, the military devised a new strategy. They mounted one of the Lewis guns onto a truck, hoping to chase down the birds at high speed. But this, too, ended in disaster. The terrain was rough and unforgiving, making it impossible to aim while in motion. The emus, naturally adapted to the rugged landscape, simply outran their pursuers, leaving the truck and its gunners humiliated. ###the emu victory. For weeks, the battle raged on. The soldiers continued their campaign, managing to gun down several thousand birds, yet their numbers barely seemed to dwindle. The emus learned from each attack, adapting their formations like seasoned warriors. The dominant males took charge, leading their flocks in tactical retreats, making it nearly impossible for the soldiers to land decisive blows. By the end of the campaign, the military had expended thousands of rounds of ammunition, yet the emu horde remained unbroken. With each failed offensive, it became clear: the Great Emu War was unwinnable. The birds had triumphed. Embarrassed by the fiasco, the government quietly withdrew the troops. The farmers were left to fend for themselves, and the emus continued to roam the wheat fields, victorious in their defiance. The press, quick to seize the absurdity of the situation, ridiculed the military's failure. The soldiers had fought bravely, but they had met an enemy beyond their comprehension, an enemy that refused to be conquered. #Legacy of the Great Emu War. Though the war was a failure for the Australian military, it became an enduring legend, a tale of nature's resilience against human intervention. The emus, survivors of the outback, had proven that sometimes the wild cannot be tamed. To this day, the Great Emu War remains one of history's strangest conflicts, a reminder that even the mightiest of weapons are no match for nature's most stubborn warriors.